Okay, look, it's very laudable to launch a policy referring to town centres first to address what is often the really unacceptable levels of dereliction and neglect that many of our town centres have suffered from. In the case of Dún Laoghaire, the capital of my county, frankly, for decades. A town that I remember as a teenager was a vibrant, buzzing, dynamic town, and to which many people, maybe a little bit unfairly sometimes, but it's a common phrase in Dún Laoghaire to say Dún Laoghaire is a ghost town compared to what it used to be. And that's a tragedy for a town like Dún Laoghaire that has an absolute jewel of Dún Laoghaire Harbour, one of the most, when it was built, the biggest human-built harbour in the world, the first suburban railway in the world, in bays that were first surveyed by the captain of the Bounty, you know, from the famous mutiny in the Bounty. You know, an amazing heritage in history, literary history, cultural history, but we have rampant dereliction. And that's both from the public and private sector. To name just a few of the sites that are in public control: the Carlisle Pier, the site of much of the Irish diaspora leaving, effectively derelict, a car park now. The Stena Terminal building, derelict for best part of a decade. The Dún Laoghaire Carnegie Library, empty for years. Old Kelly's Hotel, the old wash house, the former post office, the further education on Ablana Avenue, the harbour cottages in Dún Laoghaire Harbour, which used to house people, and many, many more. I won't go through the list of them. And then I had a transition year student who was just in with me there the other week. She first of all discovered, interesting, they have rent controls in Paris, something this government could learn about. She then, as another one of our jobs while she was with me for a week, spent an hour going up Dún Laoghaire Main Street and identified 33 in 1 hour. That's 33 derelict buildings. That's one every 30 seconds going up Dún Laoghaire Main Street, just left there to rot. So there's been absolutely chronic failure, and this has been talked about for decades, but nothing done about it. Now, what I worry about is the government makes a very laudable plan, ticks all the right boxes, but is anything actually going to happen? How many plans have we had of this sort? Rebuilding Ireland, housing for all, you know, to use the first phrase, children first. We've had lots of plans, but are they actually delivered upon? And what particularly worries me is that many of the things we're doing in reality belie the plan to renovate, to refurbish, to revitalise our towns. I mean, to give you just an example, Dún Laoghaire town, if it's going to really be vibrant, needs decent public transport links. The decision to privatise most of the public transport routes in Dún Laoghaire, because most of our bus routes, the local bus routes, were privatised to Go Ahead. At the moment, Go Ahead, I get constant calls from people trying to get to the hospital, trying to get to the town, saying the buses haven't turned up. Just haven't turned up. Privatisation has been a disaster in terms of public transport links into our capital. Is there any real willingness of the government to address that? Frankly, I doubt it. We have had more plans for Dún Laoghaire Harbour than I can care to remember, and we've had waves of consultants paid huge amounts of money who totally disregard the views of the local public, who know exactly what needs to be done in Dún Laoghaire Harbour and Dún Laoghaire Town. They completely ignore them. They get paid a fortune. They make crazy plans which in any event never come to pass. Or you think of some of the derelict sites, like the old CBS site on Ablana Avenue, which we were campaigning for years, saying there should be affordable and public housing on the site that would revitalise a central site in Dún Laoghaire. What actually happens is the site is given to Bartra to build 200 co-living apartments, which are essentially the tenements, the modern tenements of the 21st century, rooms with shared facilities and only the size of a disability parking space. Right? So unless we're serious about this, dealing with the dereliction by taking over properties, public or private, saying if there's not a good reason for something being left derelict, for more than 6 months, we will take it over, we will refurbish it for housing, for community amenities, for heritage purposes or whatever, and provide the resources to do it. Give us the public transport, give us the public housing in our localities, and give funding to the local authority and to the local community to actually deliver on the refurbishment and revitalisation. Then we might have a chance.